The mind is the most important asset for a football player. Your head is what determines if you had a good game or a bad game. At difficult moments when perhaps I wasn't 100% physically, it was my mentality that got me through, that guided me and managed every situation. It was a moment of pure joy, of great happiness for us and for the whole of Spain. We'd had so many failures in the past, it was like removing a thorn from our sides, whilst knowing that we'd contributed to the joy of an entire country. It was a moment that will be marked for eternity. Even if we win other World Cups, which I'm convinced will happen, there will never be another moment like that one.
Iker Casillas was born in 1981 in Móstoles, a satellite town of Spain's capital city. And it was here in Móstoles that Casillas would embark on a career that would see him become one of the stars of world football.
When I was 4 years old, I started to play football. I really enjoyed playing in goal. It gave me more responsibility. I did think it was great fun scoring goals and making good passes, but what I really loved was throwing myself on the ground. I liked the fact that I ripped my trousers time after time, patch after patch. I just loved it. From the age of about 4 or 5, I started watching more football on the TV. Mostly Madrid games, and pretty soon I was a Real Madrid fan. Then, when I turned 9, I started playing for Real in their youth teams. Little did I know then that it would be the start of my dream, a dream that began in childhood and is still going strong.
I remember when we used to practice at the old training ground. At that time, Vicente del Bosque was academy director. And because all the dressing rooms were in the same place, we knew a lot of the youngsters. Everyone used to go on about this 15-year-old boy who was extraordinarily good and who they thought could become Real Madrid's goalkeeper for many years to come.
Even before I signed for Real Madrid, there was a lot of talk about Iker. Then when I started training with him, you could immediately see his quality. He was wise beyond his years, a sensible guy, calm, and as a keeper, he was just fantastic.
However, it was with the national youth team that Casillas first came to prominence. In 1999, he helped Spain to their first ever world title, the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Nigeria.
Can you imagine? In 1999, the team's average age was 19, but I was the youngest in the squad at only 17. We were all in a country a long way from home. That tournament was a big stepping stone for that generation of players. We had Xavi Hernandez, we had Marchena, we had Orbaiz, players that soon started to shine in their own teams back home, and very soon formed part of the Spanish League's elite.
Back at Real Madrid, Casillas didn't have to wait long before he was given his first start for the senior team. Such was his reputation that, aged just 18, he was now responsible for keeping goal for the biggest football club in the world.
The truth is, we were going through a bad spell at that time. Then Del Bosque moved up from the youth team to become the manager. And he needed something special to lift people's spirits and improve results. Bodo Illgner got injured, and that's when Iker came through.
It's not always easy for the people who work with the youth teams. You see so many players who you think will make it, but it's not always the case. Because in the end, there are very few who actually do make it to the first team. Iker was someone we always thought would make it, and he did.
The ability he had was just extraordinary. You could really see the potential, that he could be an exceptional goalkeeper. He would make great saves, and he was brave. He had everything you need to play for a team like Real Madrid.
Iker was a lovely kid. Funny, always making jokes. And then he moves to the first team, and you think, hang on, he can't make those jokes here. But he got away with it. Especially when we were messing about in training, and that's where he won the affection of the whole team.
Everything happened so fast. Before you know it, you go from playing in the third team to the first team, from playing in front of 500 people to 50,000, from speaking to maybe one journalist to over 40. All of a sudden, you're the centre of attention.
Now established as Real's #1, Casillas excelled in La Liga. But it was in the Champions League where he would be tested against the best strikers in Europe, as Madrid chased a record 8th European Cup.
We beat Manchester United in the quarter-final of the Champions League at Old Trafford, and then we were drawn against Bayern Munich in the semis. We all thought to ourselves, this won't be easy, but we beat them here in Madrid 2-0, and then went to Munich. Anelka put us in front, so they threw all they had at us. Iker had to stand up and be counted, and that's what he did, making save after save. That's how we qualified for the final.
Before the final in Paris, the feeling we had was that everyone was expecting Valencia to win.
Vicente trusted. There he was, making jokes. I thought to myself, son of a gun, we're about to play a Champions League final, and he's more relaxed than anyone.
After that, he didn't have much else to do.
I look back on that first season with great affection. Nobody saw us as European champions that year, but thanks to the great spirit we had in our team, we made it to the final, where, despite being the underdogs, we managed to win the trophy.
I remember the intensity of his celebrations. After the game, with the trophy, celebrating on our flight on our way back to Madrid. He seemed to really enjoy it. You could see the Madrid fan inside him.
It was a first season few could have dreamt of. The following year, Casillas won La Liga for the first time, alongside the talents of Raúl, Zinedine Zidane and Luis Figo. It was the start of the Galactico era at the Bernabeu, but the young Casillas had his feet firmly on the ground.
There was an advertising slogan that I think was quite significant that he did, and the slogan was, "I'm not a Galactico, I'm from Móstoles." I think that was part of Iker Casillas' appeal, that he was seen as the guy that could live next door to you. He was seen as the guy that you could relate to.
I'm not a Galactico, I'm from Móstoles. Yes, I remember that. Truth is, he was a man of the people, close to his friends, close to his neighbourhood. He was very proud about being from Móstoles. He used to come to training all the way from there on the underground, until he got to the age where he could get a driving licence and buy his first car.
I was still getting my driving license, so I used to take the metro. It's funny looking back. It's a part of my life that I remember with great fondness. Though I must say I haven't been on the Underground many times since.
However, the unique pressures of playing in a team of Galacticos took its toll. In 2002, as Madrid lost ground in La Liga, Casillas found himself dropped for the first time. It was a bitter pill for the 20-year-old to take, especially as that season Real once again reached the final of the Champions League.
Once he had established himself as Madrid's #1, he wasn't used to being left out. Another teammate came in, performed well, and then when we got to the Champions League final, he didn't start the game.
Iker had been at Madrid a long time, so in many ways we felt bad about that. He had been in
towards the end of the game, and he made 2 or 3 big saves in quick succession. And that's how we won the Champions League. I will never forget him crying after them, but there was nothing we could do. He just carried on crying and crying. I think
2002 also saw Iker Casillas achieve every footballer's dream of playing at the FIFA World Cup. But once again, Spain underachieved at an international tournament, shocked at the quarter-final stage by South Korea.
Everyone in Spain used to say, why should we bother going to a major tournament if we're going to end up losing in the quarter-finals? Or they thought only Brazil or Italy could win the World Cup. Maybe we're not a pessimistic country when it comes to sports, but for a long time, it was hard to believe we could actually win things.
But if success with the national team proved elusive, Casillas' club career continued to blossom. In 2003, he helped Madrid to their 29th La Liga title, his performances drawing accolades from across the continent. He won back-to-back league titles in 2007 and 2008 and was now regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
His ability in one-on-one situations was fantastic. He had great intuition. He could guess what strikers were going to do before they even knew it.
What was remarkable about the Casillas was the unexpectedness and the speed with which he made saves. So you would see him make a save that just seems unbelievable. The thing that always set Casillas apart was that he made saves that other goalkeepers simply didn't make.
I remember that save he made from Perotti against Sevilla. That was typical of him. Any other keeper, being where he was in the goal, wouldn't have even tried to make that save, but he did. That showed he could do things others simply couldn't.
He was captain material. There was Raúl. There was Fernando Hierro as well. But the one who followed, with the reputation to back it up, to be the captain of Madrid and the national team, that was Iker.
Euro 2008 was the first tournament at which Iker Casillas captained his country. Not since 1964 had La Roja won a major international competition, and again the pessimism around Spain prevailed.
Every national team I've played with over the last 15 years has made it to the last stages of tournaments. By that, I'm talking about the European Championships in Portugal, then in Belgium and Holland, the World Cup in Japan and Korea, and the World Cup in Germany. This tournament was the one where people really didn't expect much from us at all.
At Euro 2008, once again we got through to the quarter-finals, where we faced Italy, an opponent who are always competitive. That was a crucial moment for us. The game went to penalties, which is always a bit of a lottery. But with Iker in goal, we knew we had a great chance. And once more, he stepped up to the mark when it mattered most.
Spain reached the final of Euro 2008 after victory over Russia in the last 4. Fernando Torres' goal was enough to see off Germany in Vienna. Spain were European champions.
Today we get goosebumps whenever we talk about it. And why? Because it wasn't an easy thing to achieve. It was a special moment not only for us, but for Spain in general. Because it happened at a time when Spain was already feeling the effects of a global economic crisis. Winning that tournament gave our country a huge boost.
However, the FIFA World Cup still eluded Spain. Unbeaten in their qualification campaign, La Roja were one of the favourites in South Africa. But defeat in their opening match against Switzerland led many to question that assertion.
We had journalists saying that our campaign was already a disaster, that there was no way we could do it. But I think that defeat made us even more convinced that we could win the World Cup.
Iker's saves were so important to us progressing through the tournament. I remember the penalty he stopped against Paraguay in the quarter-final. At such a crucial stage in the match. He proved he was one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Not only because of the many saves he made, but because when you needed him the most, he was always there.
Having beaten Germany in the last four, Spain then took on Holland in the 2010 World Cup final in Johannesburg. An ill-tempered match of few chances, the game's turning point came midway through the second half, when Robben broke clear, with only Casillas to beat.
That was a surreal moment, because it was a move by a player who's so quick and so explosive. So many things go through your head at that moment. But I was lucky then too. I tried to follow Robben as much as I could, and when he shot, I managed to stick my leg out and deflect the ball just wide of the post.
With the scores still level, the match looked to be heading to a penalty shootout. But Andres Iniesta's goal, 4 minutes from time, meant Spain were world champions.
Iker came through for us. When the final whistle was blown, I went straight over and hugged him. All our emotions came out.
We broke a cycle that had lasted for so many years. We did it, and suddenly you're the first Spanish person to lift the World Cup. Then you go home and you see all the people on the streets thanking you. It was amazing.
The euphoria of winning the World Cup led to a new optimism around Spain. For Casillas, attention now turned to Euro 2012, where La Roja were hoping to become the first team to win 3 major international competitions in a row.
For me, Euro 2012 was the most difficult of all the championships. Because from 2006 to 2010, we've been playing football the same way, and every player from every country knew exactly how we played. It was tough against Italy in the opener and against Portugal in the semis. But in the end, justice prevailed. We fully deserved to win that tournament.
The Euro 2012 final in Kiev was the most one-sided European final in history. Spain ran riot, scoring 4 with no reply against Italy. Casillas conceded only 1 goal in the whole tournament, as Spain secured an unprecedented 3rd major title in a row and staked their claim to be the greatest international football team of all time. Yet more silverware followed. 2012 saw Casillas win his 5th and final La Liga title with Real Madrid. And 2 years later, he starred in their run to a 10th.
2 top-quality keepers. I had Diego Lopez, but in the Champions League, I chose Casillas in every game. Firstly, because he was captain of Real Madrid, and secondly, because he had unbelievable experience in the Champions League. And that season, His performances were fantastic.
However, in the summer of 2015, Iker Casillas left Real Madrid to begin a new challenge with FC Porto in Portugal. He had had an astonishing career with the Spanish Giants, racking up a record 725 official appearances, as well as winning numerous trophies, both at home and abroad.
Wherever I go, I'll always support Madrid.
After nearly 3 decades with the club, Iker Casillas' time as Real Madrid's captain and goalkeeper had finally come to an end.
He spent 25 years at the club and performed amazingly during his time there. He always knew what this club means to people, what it means to have been part of Real Madrid, to have grown up in their academy. I think Iker was born to play for Real Madrid.
It was a very hard decision for him to make. I was talking to him at that time, and I know he thought long and hard about it. But in the end, he realized that the time had come for a change. But he was really sad to be leaving Real Madrid.
I'm starting a new adventure, something different. It's obvious that, having been with the same club for 25 years, it makes it difficult to take the decision to leave. But from the start, everyone involved with Porto was grateful for me making the decision to come here. They've helped me a lot, and now I have a different challenge and a new dream, one that I hope comes true.
Iker Casillas, Spain and Real Madrid legend, and the greatest goalkeeper of his generation. One of the most decorated players in the history of the game, no goalkeeper has ever won as many trophies for club and country. The most capped player in Spain's history, with more than 160 appearances for the national team, he remains the only goalkeeper to lift both the European Championship and the World Cup in a long and hugely successful career.
He's the complete goalkeeper. He has tremendous concentration, great reflexes, is a keeper who dominates his area. He's been more or less perfect for us.
As they say in England, he's a gentleman. Someone who came from nothing and won it all. For me, he's the best keeper there's ever been.
For most people, Casillas was Real Madrid. He was a fantastic keeper, with great reactions. He was very fast, always ready, and anticipating what might happen. He wasn't the tallest of goalkeepers, but his speed between the posts was something unique.
He had this gift that whenever we needed him, he was always there. He would say it himself, "I've got luck on my side. Don't worry, if you need me, I'll be there." And that's how it was, game after game after game.
He always made the important saves. He was like an insurance for us. He was our captain, and he was fundamental to the success of the national team.
What can I say? Of course, I feel very proud of what I've achieved. As a footballer, you have this privilege of being able to make millions of people happy. So when you can do something like that, and you can please so many of your countrymen, it's like waking up with the feeling that you've done your duty. I've done everything I wanted to do when I was a youngster. I wanted to play football, I wanted to win things with Real Madrid, and I wanted to win things with the national team. And that's what I've loved doing, making people happy through my achievements.